Assalamu alaikum all. Today I'm going to be talking about my favorite language learning app. Now this has been the biggest thing that I have done in terms of my language learning journey. It's been the most important thing, and that is using Duo Lingo. And in this video I'm going to explain why it's been so important and how you can use it yourself as well. So yeah, just want to say welcome. On this channel I share my journey learning languages as a Muslim. Now, why is Duo Lingo the single most important thing I have done in language learning? The most important thing with language learning is just to keep going. So it doesn't matter how much you do, just a little bit. If you could just do a tiny bit each day, over the course of a long time, that really adds up. And, the problem is that what I've done before is that I've just kind of given up and just, it's got a bit difficult, a bit tricky, or, the book wasn't right for me or something like that. And Duo Lingo just makes it really fun, really simple. You could just try and do one lesson a day. And some days I don't have much energy or there's been a lot going on. Like one day, my son had to go into hospital. I just didn't have enough time or energy to kind of do language learning. But with Duo Lingo, you can just get that little lesson out of the way and it all just kind of builds up. Now, another thing I want to really highlight is that it's impossible not to learn something if you just keep going every day. It really is as simple as that. And there's this famous kind of saying, I think it's from some Buddhist monk or something like that, which just talks about chop wood and carry water. It doesn't matter what happens, just keep doing that, keep sort of trusting in that process. And I wish I'd done that with Arabic. So I started Arabic about 10 years ago. I wish I had just sort of continued doing it and just continued learning. And even if I did a tiny bit each day, over the course of 10 years, I probably would have known a really good amount of Arabic by now. But it was just things like, the process or the learning resources or things like that. We just got too difficult and just too much friction in place. But Duo Lingo just makes it really easy just to keep going. And it's great for beginners. It's just super easy to pick up and go. For beginners, that's really important. Like for me, I just needed to kind of just get into the language. I needed something quite soft and easy and gentle to kind of ease me into it and just to keep me engaged as well. Because what happens is what I found for myself is I would start something and then, oh my gosh, it starts okay, but then it gets a bit too difficult. So it needs to be really easy going, really gentle, just to kind of get me going, get my brain going and stuff like that. Then once I've kind of got into the language and I've kind of got over that kind of initial hump, then if I do get a bit more kind of tricky concepts and stuff, I'm kind of more used to it a bit more. I'm a bit more kind of used to it and I could kind of continue on. And why do I love it? Why do I love Duo Lingo so much? And something I talk a lot about on this channel. And one of the things is that it's got these really small, tiny lessons that are just so easy to do, which I've also kind of spoken about earlier, but also the way it does these lessons as well. It's not just a case of memorizing a whole bunch of words or grammar rules and things like that. It's really cool. It uses images. It could be listening. It could be talking into Duo Lingo and it kind of checks how things go. And it's really good. Just the way they've kind of really thought about it. It's a massive company now. And, they've been around for a long time and it's really popular and they've kind of got all the resources just to make the app really, really good. And another really good thing is that, when you're learning a language, you want to reduce anxiety, and small lessons mean it's just very easy to keep going and you don't have to carry big books around with you. You don't need a lot of preparation, a lot of resources. You don't need to really kind of, set out a dedicated, 1-2 hour chunk of time. And anxiety is a big reason why people stop learning a language. It definitely was for me. I was, oh my gosh, I was really dreading, going into that book. It was getting too complicated. There wasn't understanding anything, and sometimes you have to question the resources you're using. They're just not suitable for you sometimes. And I think that was a big thing for me to come to, a big realization that it wasn't that I couldn't learn a language. I'm not one of these people that doesn't have a brain that can't learn language. Everyone can learn a language. 100% believe that. And I know that's true. It's just a process, and it's trusting the process and finding a process that kind of works with you, that's easy and fun, and that is actually doable. You can learn a language while having fun. And what I really like about Duo Lingo is that it will adjust the lesson based on how well you are doing. And this is something, I think it was in the book Atomic Habits, like the Goldilocks rule. So, if it gives you a question and it finds that you found it difficult, that question would then pop up later in the lesson and it will make it a lot simpler. So rather than writing out a whole sentence, for example, it just might fill out most of the sentence and just leave a little gap. And you just need to fill in that one word. And and it just kind of just keeps building and building and building, and it's really good. And you could just start for free. I mean, the free version is great. It pretty much gives you most of the features. You have a few ads every now and then, but it's designed it really well. I now pay for it just because I get so much value out of it. But just start with the free version and see how it goes. And definitely like Duolingo, I do like to compare it to books as well. And what's the difference as well? Now, one of the things with books is that they're quite static. They don't know how well you're doing. Are you struggling? Are you finding it really easy? So you just have to kind of follow the book and kind of follow the structure that it kind of gives you. However, Duolingo will actually change the lesson. It has dynamic lessons. So based on how well you're doing, what you're finding difficult, it can then create lessons that are based on the things that you found difficult. So I believe that's like a paid feature as well. So you might not have it if you get on the free one, but it's still very good. Like the questions do adapt as well, even if you're on the free version, depending on how difficult you're finding it as well. But with the paid version, it's got this really good kind of feature that properly kind of analyzes how well you've been doing and gives you like dedicated tasks and things that you can do specifically to target the areas that you have been struggling with. And another thing is that one thing I found out when I was using a book as well, I was using the Asimil book, I was constantly looking up words, trying to find things out as well, and you're going back and forth, and that was just like a lot of effort, a lot of friction. And Duolingo, you just kind of if you get it wrong, it just gives you the answer straight away. It's all there. You don't have to remember, look up lots of different sort of words and stuff like that. So just really nice to use. But I do mix Duolingo with other resources, so it's definitely good to learn from other different resources. So I'm not saying don't use anything else as well, but Duolingo is like just that grounding, that fundamental sort of language learning that I try and do every day. But I do have an online tutor as well, and there's things that I've learned from Duolingo that I've been able to take across to that as well. I'm watching shows in French and things like that as well to kind of help build my understanding. One of the big things I talk about is just having lots of input, lots of comprehensive input kind of going to your brain, and let your brain just kind of absorb it and hear it, and it will slowly start to make sort of connections. So just the way the brain works as well, it just really helps giving you that belief that I can learn a language. And you do get some people that do criticize Duolingo, and I think a lot of people do that because I think maybe it's people that want to get super fluent and these polyglots and things like that. They're really used to learning languages, and they've got lots of techniques and stuff that work for them, and maybe they find it quite easy, or they've got into a good routine of studying 2-3 hours a day and using different books and resources and stuff like that. But however, I think Duolingo is fantastic, and you can build your language really well. Just keep doing it, keep learning it. But if you do want to get more and more fluent, definitely it helps like having practice and speaking to someone and things like that. So Duolingo is one of those big, I would say, tools you can use in your toolbox, but as well as other things such as watching YouTube or Netflix in French or whatever language you're learning, or speaking to other people as well. So I speak to my online tutor as well, so I'm getting that conversational practice. So it's definitely, I wouldn't say the only thing I would use, but definitely a big part of it, and the thing that I use when I'm struggling and finding things difficult, just to keep me going and just keep building that routine, that regular sort of language learning practice. And if you've struggled language learning, then give Duolingo a go. I think one of the biggest problems I had initially was, I'm not going to learn anything. These lessons are too short. But over the course of time, they build up, and you'll be impressed with how much you can pick up. So just want to say, if you enjoyed this video, please check out my other video where I have a vlog of me learning French and how I do it in a day around my salah and using Duolingo. Assalamu alaikum.